toddler Dylan Ehler disappeared from his grandmother's house in May 2020. The case caught the attention of many internet users, some of which hinted that Dylan's parents were involved in his disappearance due to a particularly eye-raising TikTok video posted by his mother. Police surmised that he fell into a nearby waterway and got washed out to Salmon River, but others believe the facts didn't lead to that conclusion. 3 years on, Dylan's remains have still not been found, and a definitive answer on his case has not been reached. What really happened to Dylan Ehler? Dylan Ehler was born on April 16, 2017. He was just 3 years old when he went missing. On May 6th, Dylan was at his grandmother's house in Truro, Nova Scotia, Canada. Dorothy Parsons was asked to babysit her grandson while his mother, Ashley Brown, grabbed coffee with a friend. It was a welcome offer when Ashley's friend had messaged and asked for a catch-up. Life at home had been stressful over the past few weeks. Ashley and Dylan's father, Jason, both lost their jobs due to the pandemic, and tensions had been heightened due to a multitude of external stressors. Ashley's 12-year-old daughter from a previous relationship was also schooling from home. Dylan was a wild spirit who eagerly sought things that made him happy. He was full of life and loved nature. Most of all, he loved his parents. Dorothy said she had been with Dylan and her puppy in her backyard. Apparently, Dorothy turned around to get a leash onto the puppy, and when she looked back, Dylan was gone. She believed that he had been abducted. Dylan liked making a run for it, a fairly typical toddler trait. When Dorothy mentioned playing in the yard with Dylan and the puppy to Ashley, she joked with her mom that she better have leashes on both of them. As she noticed that she couldn't see Dylan, Dorothy ran into the street, calling his name. She couldn't see him anywhere and got a neighbor to dial 911. Authorities were on the scene for 4 minutes. A search was immediately launched, with every stone being turned over to see if Dylan was simply hiding somewhere. Ashley's dad drove to her friend's house to pick her up and break the news. They headed straight to Dorothy's house, with Ashley holding her breath the entire ride, just hoping Dylan would have been found by the time she arrived. That was not the case. Initially, the authorities treated Dylan's disappearance as a missing persons case, not a criminal one. They believed he may have fallen into Leper Brook, a waist-deep creek that led to Salmon River. This theory came after Dylan's rubber boots were found in the water by firefighters searching the scene 60 feet apart. Dylan's parents have publicly had issues with how the investigation into their son's disappearance was handled. Ashley herself said, "I know that they didn't block off any streets. They didn't stop the public from coming onto the crime scene of the area where he went missing, and they were very late in issuing alerts and getting help." So I think that tunnel vision did have a play in that. Once they found the boots, and that was it, that's where he went, and essentially, the police tell us that we need to accept it and move on. Underwater cameras and thermal imaging equipment extensively searched the waterways over the next several days. To see how far Dylan's body may have traveled in the water, a mannequin was brought in with similar proportions to the child and tested in the water. There was a crucial turning point when the internet started to focus on Ashley and Jason as possible suspects, and this was the discovery of 2 particular TikTok videos that Ashley had previously posted. Ashley first got on TikTok at the same time as many others, during the pandemic. The 32-year-old posted videos in batches, lip-syncing to trending sounds. The first video that certain people latched onto was Ashley using the popular sound, "You ever just look at somebody and think to yourself, this motherfucker is going to be the reason I go to jail?" while Dylan sits cheerfully beside her. In another video, Ashley lip-syncs to a popular parody of Frozen's "Do You Wanna Build a Snowman?" The lyrics saying, "Will you help me hide a body? Come on, we can't delay. No one can see him on the floor. Get him out the door before he can decay." Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other users had used these sounds and faced no repercussions. But unfortunately for Ashley, these were latched onto and used as evidence pointing towards her involvement in Dylan's disappearance. A Facebook group was created that focused on Dylan's disappearance, or, more importantly, the theories around it. At its peak, the group had over 17,000 members. Some posts featured serious allegations against family members of Dylan for his murder. The Ehler Brown family faced additional accusations of negligence towards Dylan, leading Halifax lawyer Allison Harris to take legal action under Nova Scotia's Intimate Images and Cyber Protection Act, an anti-cyberbullying law. In mid-2021, settlements were reached with the Facebook group's 2 administrators. As part of the resolution, the administrators were prohibited from contacting Dylan's family and creating new online groups related to its disappearance. This legal action became a significant case in the province concerning cyberbullying. However, it has sparked debates regarding the limitation of freedom of speech in discussions by unrelated individuals about ongoing police investigations. Harris clarified that her intention was not to restrict online's free speech, but to balance freedom of speech with preventing harm caused by malicious online posts. Within the Facebook group, some comments included derogatory language towards Dylan's mother without any valid context, as well as unverified allegations of Satan worship and murder. Most of the family posts were later removed from the internet. Dylan's family has consistently maintained their innocence and denied any involvement in his disappearance. While Dorothy has suggested the possibility of abduction while she was occupied with her puppy, the police have not identified any indications of foul play. In an interview with CTV News, Dylan's mother acknowledged that her TikTok videos may have been inappropriate, but argued that they were taken out of context. She explained that the video featuring a Frozen song was intended to be a dark humor parody, unrelated to Dylan's case, and was created to participate in an ongoing internet trend. In January 2022, Dylan's father was arrested and charged with fraud for allegedly using the banking information of a deceased person at multiple local financial institutions. According to court information, he is accused of falsifying checks and cashing them at various banks in the area, defrauding them in the process. This is obviously unrelated to Dylan's disappearance. On the 1-year anniversary, Dylan's family organized a gathering where paper boats were placed in Leper Brook as a memorial for Dylan. The public was invited to participate, and it was described as a way to remember Dylan, raise awareness, and have a special moment dedicated to him, as he would have loved sending paper boats down the water. As previously mentioned, the authorities do not believe foul play was involved in Dylan's disappearance, but several facts have been pointed out that makes it seem unlikely that the young boy could make his way down to the creek without being noticed. Dorothy turned around for less than 30 seconds. Dylan, being just 3 years old in a thick winter jacket with rubber boots on, greatly hampered his mobility. Yes, he did like to run, but how far could he have reasonably gotten in the time frame? The body of water that police believe Dylan entered could not have been reached when Dorothy looked away from him. Dylan's parents also said they didn't think he would go into the water willingly. The other fact that points towards a possible abduction is the location of Dorothy's home. It is close to a fairly busy intersection. If Dylan had run along the main road, there is a high chance he would have crossed paths with at least one vehicle. Despite many searchers being at the waterway shortly after Dylan was last seen, there was no evidence of him having been there other than the rubber boots. You would expect to find some footprints on the edge or signs he had been there. The Truro Police Department, who is responsible for the investigation, has consistently declined additional resources for the search, citing the need to preserve the integrity of their ongoing investigation. The police maintained the theory that Dylan drowned in the waterway and concluded their active search after 5 days, transitioning to recovery efforts. Even after 14 months of Dylan's disappearance, the police have not authorized further resources. Apart from the discovery of rubber boots, which could have potentially been thrown from a nearby train bridge, there is no conclusive evidence indicating that Dylan entered the water. Dylan's family has never lost hope and continues their tireless efforts to find their son. They have created and shared images and posters of Dylan, organized memorials and rallies, searched the river, and continue to demand answers from law enforcement. Hopefully, one day we will find out what happened to Dylan Ehlers. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. And most importantly, please subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified every time we upload a new, intriguing case.